pre-qualify.
For me, and then
3 minutes, and the others have a $1.3 million. Really? I think that how far you have to bring it. Affordable for you to make.
all right, moving on to the official paper. We have two bids, it looks like, one from the Weston County Gazette and Upton, and one from the Newsletter Journal here in Newcastle. Open the Upton one first, or the Weston County Gazette first. Amy. As per your request, the Weston County Gazette would like to submit a bid for publishing Weston County's legal advertisements for the 2026 calendar year. As Clerk Hadlock has requested, I enclosed a sample publication, written explanation as the type, size, leading, and column width. I've also included a copy of the state statute 18351759 pertaining to the newspaper qualifications. I propose a bid of $6 per column inch. The sample legal publication provided by Clerk Hadlock measured 2 columns by 30 3/4 inches, which is a total of 61 1/2 inches. The total cost of publication would be $369. Column width for the Gazette is just over 2 inches. 2 columns width is approximately 4 5/8 inches. The spacing is 8.5 point. And the font is Times New Roman 9 point with 4 execution. Our average distribution for the past year is 669 regular print paper and e-copies, with 536 of those as paid print copies as stated in the annual statement of ownership filed with the United States Postal Service. The 536 average paid print copies for last year exceeds the requirement of 500 paid subscribers as per the statute listed above and included in this proposal. Our subscription rates are $35 per year for a regular subscription in the 827 zip code area and $40 outside the 827 area. Subscribers can buy or renew their subscription on our website or by traditional means. Our over-the-counter price is 75 cents per issue as requested by the Commission to increase availability in Newcastle. We sell the Weston County Gazette at Decker's Market, Gateway Travel Center, and Shortstop. We provide it to Weston County Health Services patients, Newcastle Medical Clinic, all Weston County offices, Weston County Extension, Weston County Public Health, Hannah Miller Museum, and the Weston County Library free of charge. We're a member of the Wyoming Press Association and the National Newspaper Association. All legal notices are distributed digitally on our website and the Wyoming Press Association legal site, wyopublicnotices.com, at no additional cost to the advertiser. We do offer website and social media advertising as well. This bid is only for print as stated in the statute. We are 100% Weston County owned business. Our interests and diligent lies in supporting Weston County, reporting with integrity and honesty. I've enjoyed working with the county staff and elected officials for many years, and I hope to continue to do so in the future. Thanks for your consideration in the matter. Sincerely, Lisa Levaster, publisher, editor, owner. She has attached the requirements of the newspaper publishing legal notices. A statement of ownership. Here's a copy of the legal notice. What do you see? Hold that up real quick. There's a copy of the legal notice as presented by the Weston County Health. one from the Newsletter Journal here in Newcastle. You guys want me to slow down so you can look at that? Or? Okay. This bid's front page, read it out. Weston County Commission. Enclosed is a copy of the minutes of the August 5th, 2025 meeting of the Weston County Commissioners as they would have appeared in the legal advertisement section of the Newsletter Journal. The legals are set up on a 4-column page with a column width of 5.1 inches. The legals are printed in 9-point Nimbus sans type with a 10.5 point leading. Is that correct? Sans. The Newsletter Journal had a total average distribution of 1,523, print of 1,208, page digital subscriptions of 315 issues per week of 2025. And that is well in excess of the required minimum weekly distribution of 500 that is set by Wyoming Statute 183519. We publish 52 weeks a year, as is also required in statute, and are a full member of the Wyoming Press Association. The Newsletter Journal is a legal publication under Wyoming law. In an effort to provide consistency for your constituents and our readers, we have begun offering a 15% discount off our standard legal publication rate to local government entities that designate the Newsletter Journal as their legal newspaper for 2026. The minutes for this particular meeting occupied a total of 120 column inches, and at the discounted rate of $10.50 per column inch, the total cost of printing this set of minutes would be $1,260. When you consider your choice for legal publication for Weston County, we ask you to consider that the Newsletter Journal is read by more Weston County residents than any other publication that is eligible to publish county legal notices. We also provide our notices free to all viewers on our website, newsletterjournal.com, where we produce daily content, including our social media and digital products. The county's legal notices will be available directly on our website in a searchable format, and that website is updated frequently and well maintained. We also provide links to our legal notices on our social media and through our weekly email newsletter, which is Nuke Now, to make them even more readily available to the public. We believe our successful efforts to modernize and reach a larger audience through digital means sets us apart from other newspapers in Weston County and should be weighed when considering the value presented to the county and its residents by the Newsletter Journal's bid. I will be available to offer any explanation of assistance I can provide you in making this very important decision. Sincerely, Kim Dean, Managing Editor of the Newsletter Journal. Ms. Dean has attached a copy of what it would look like of the August 5th, 2025 meeting and her bid to the Board of County Commissioners for the Newsletter Journal.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
Kim, do you have a statement of the ownership, management, and circulation?
Great job sweeping the floor the other day.
Do you mind if I pass
That's
this?
down.
Did you get volunteered for that or volunteered?
A little bit, yeah.
Doing your part as a board member.
Didn't see any other board members there, so. What's that? Oh, yeah. Best I can do.
People want some crazy stuff, and we always used to dream about it, and now that it's here, people are scared of it. Self-driving cars, electric vehicle. We've been seeing that stuff on TV for how long, hoverboards, all, and we get upset that we don't have the hoverboards and stuff, but the technology we do have that was in those same shows, we shun it, and we are scared of it, and we don't want to embrace it. And I think every one of us that was sitting around in the 80s and 90s watching those TV shows would be very mad at ourselves as adults now if we weren't taking advantage of all the cool stuff little kids us wanted to play with. So
yeah, you could say we live in a scary time, but I think we live in an exciting. I cannot believe that in my lifetime this is happening. I mean, it is absolutely crazy. And you're right. I spent years saying, man, I wish I had a personal assistant.
It's got liquid in the center.
Did you get
Liquid.
Yeah, that was the first.
Yeah. The red and turn.
Goodness.
To be fair,
Oh, thanks so much.
she's been working
Oh, this
See,
is,
when we came talking about you and everything.
look, just if we talk, it's too late now.
That's what's too late now.
What can I hand you?
Yeah, just like that.
Want both of them?
Yeah. That's hard.
I'm not using it till I get to the center.
Wait till I get to the center. Maybe. See how that goes. Well, like you're kind of a tickle. What's in that? We did.
Put that down there too. This is the last of this.
Guess while people are going over that, does anybody, either of you folks like to have anything to say about your bids or?
Appreciated your trust in us all these years.
Appreciate the opportunity to submit a bid each year.
Real quick, Lisa, how many of your subscriptions are in Weston County?
That's a good question. It should be broke down on that statement ownership. I don't have a copy on it.
Oh,
I'd guess about
Up on the back.
3/4.
Probably 3/4.
oh, here we go. I just didn't go far enough back. Thank you.
It's divided in county, out of county.
Yeah. Thank you.
Up to the board. It breaks down the in county and out of county. Where is it? Gotcha. Dismiss you.
I just wanted to say, I think both papers do a great job. I think we're lucky to have the two papers in our county that we do. They both serve their communities really well. And I guess that's the reality of it to me. They both serve their communities. They don't really, there's not a lot of crossover, I guess, which is common and that's the way it should be. That kind of, to me, is where the problem is. I think my opinion, and this is my opinion, it would be really nice if we could go every other year with both papers, giving each paper a fair chance to represent the county.
Yes, ma'am.
I move to approve the Weston County Gazette as the official newspaper of 2026.
Motion on the table, there's a second.
Second.
Discussion, please. Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion on the table to accept the Weston County Gazette's bid at $369, is that per,
Just for that sample,
for that sample?
$6 per home.
Yep. Please say aye. Or, I'm sorry. Yeah, please say aye. Sorry.
Can't say that.
That's good. I forgot I already did discussion. I apologize.
Needing the witness.
All those in favor of accepting the bid from the Weston County Gazette for this sample at the cost of $369, please say aye.
Mr. Chairman, that's not what it is. And what the motion
Weston
was.
County Gazette as the official newspaper for the 2026 year.
Yeah, okay.
That's the motion.
Okay,
Are we voting on the motion?
that's the motion. Probably second.
So are we voting now?
Yes,
Okay, aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Yay.
All right. Motion carried. Okay. Confused myself.
There's lots of open ones now.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing it.
Was it 369 is that, for that sample, was just that week?
But their
Yeah.
bid is for the $6 per home and for the entire year.
Yeah. All right, victim witness retirement.
Come on, come. Where to sit, Tish? For you.
So I'm gonna read an email sent from Amber to Megan Hughes. Do you guys know who Megan Hughes is?
She is the director of.
So, I guess in the budget provided this year, a copy of that was sent to Ms. Hughes by Amber, and some confusion as to who paid what in some of the line items. And Amber, in her email to Ms. Hughes, it says, on the following spreadsheet, who pays what's shown in gray and how much is put into each fund. I'm wondering why, because across from the other benefits, it isn't broke out into the victim witness, comma surcharge, comma VOCA, because her retirement is way more than what is allocated for the match, so we're confused as to where the rest of that is supposed to come out from. And Ms. Hughes responded saying, I agree that the budget provided seems to be lacking some detail. Any additional contributions outside of their grant award and match should be recorded in the additional resources column so that we can get a clear picture of the program's full operating budget. This is a teaching moment for the program, RPM, and we will require more detail in future fiscal years before approving the final budget. The budget spreadsheet itself is just a template that each sub-grantee is required to complete and then submit to us once they receive their award notice. The amounts for each funding stream, victim witness, surcharge, VOCA, and match, are determined by DVS, and then the budget itself is completed by program staff, so likely Stephanie or Mr. Stolken. DVS, which I assume is Department of Victim Services, has certain cost allocation rules when it comes to personnel expenses, but programs are not required to budget our funds across all line items. It's not uncommon for governmental programs to utilize DVS grant funds to cover staff salaries and then have the cities or county pick up the remainder of the expenses. It's truly up to the individual program what all was included in their grant application. For example, what they wrote for and the scope of their project and how much money we're actually able to award them. More often than not, the county ends up picking up a portion of the expenses associated with the grant-funded positions. So to answer your question about the remainder of Stephanie's retirement expenses for the year, that would come from the same pot of money within the county attorney's operating budget. I would look at the office's overall annual operating budget to get a better picture. Grant funding didn't pay for any in capitals of Stephanie's retirement. So presumably, whatever pot of money it had been coming from previously is where you would need to continue pulling the expense from. So presumably, whatever pot of money it had been coming from previously is where you would need to continue pulling the expense from. So we're short how much? Is it the 7,007?
Yeah, I've got a lot to do today. So we'll start with that. There you go. I tried to include everything for you guys so that everybody is in the loop of the program and start a fresh page for this year. Okay, so that is my quarterly report. I have to do those, I'm required to do those 4 times a year and present them to the state of Wyoming. The first set of numbers is my raw data. The second set of numbers is the prorate that the state were under, because I have to report them. I would personally like to be put on the agenda once a quarter so that I can share these reports with you guys and you can see how many victims, witnesses we help in this county, which surprises me for a little county. There is actually an average of 12 victims per month for a total of 36 victims, at least in this quarter. And so this program entitles me to help them to the best of my ability with the money that's in the program. I also sent out a survey. I included that in there. Some of the surveys, I didn't want to inundate you with a bunch of them. They're very honest feedback. I tell them, please don't put your name on them. Let's make this completely anonymous. And that way there's no, oh, well, you know, Miss said this, or let's just make them anonymous and I can use the feedback positively. And then constructive criticism. That way I can make the program better. On January the 2nd, the division informed all of us that there will be a new grant site for the fiscal year of 27-28, and the grant application will open February 1st and is due March the 15th at 5 p.m. No late entries will be accepted. So I did give you a copy of that, Nathan. If anybody else wants a copy, I can give it to them, or I can email you the copy that they sent me. So a virtual training will be held on February 21st. To go over the new application process and the new website for the grant. A second training will be offered January 23rd. I have invited Amber Green to take that virtual training with me from her desk. And if any of you would like to, I'll send you all the link to it. Okay? And like I said, if you want a copy of it, I can send it to you or I can give it to you. In the coming months, I plan to come in front of the board maybe a few times to go over the application for 27-28. And I'll need approval from the board, of course, before March 15th at 5 to apply for the grant. And I can't wait to see what I learn from this. And I'm hoping Amber can do it. and we can learn together. That way that we have a backup always. Right now, my current funds, my retirement is $687.45 a month for a total of $8,249.40 per year. The county already covered the $3,068.75. It was paid out of the county VOCA match account. So the match account money, it is zero right now in that account. So I need approval, I guess, for payroll to take out the remaining $5,180.65 for retirement for this year. I believe the majority of the match line prior to this went to the general fund, right? From what I understand, it was the leftover went to the general fund. And so it's only because the VOCA federal funds were decreased, therefore the match for the county was decreased to the $3,068. And so there's the remaining, I think, will come out of, I know what you're saying to me, that's why I'm struggling. You're saying it has to come out of the county attorney's budget? Because I was going to ask.
That's typically done.
Okay. See, I talked to Bailey Johnson, who is my regional program manager in Cheyenne, and I asked her if I can do a budget change or amend the budget, the grant. And she said, it goes on a percentage. So surcharge, victim witness fund is state, VOCA is federal. And she said the percentages match right now and I'm in compliance. If I change those percentages, I might be out of compliance. I hesitate to even do that because we are in compliance right now. So as you can see by the stats, the program's doing really well for this county. We're helping a lot of victims. And so I don't know which line we can take it out of. I was thinking we can go back to that general fund and ask for it to be put in the retirement account to be taken out for the county because I'm a county employee. But if it has to come out of our county attorney funds, that's a little different. So I am completely not sure of that, but I asked the board if you have questions about the payroll to have Amber Green join the meeting, but then now I'm not quite sure about where it has to come out.
Well, it appears like from the letter, I think what they typically do is that's either added into the budget when you apply for the grant funds that's figured in, or the county agrees prior to that grant funding being approved that they will pick up that portion. I think is what I'm reading. Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to tag on to you that part of the application would tell us because it's a reimbursement grant. So we pay and then we get reimbursed, that we are to be reimbursed for this retirement. And so somewhere along the line that didn't get communicated to anyone, not from the state, not from, this thing says nothing. And I think that's where the issue is really rubbing here, is that whatever portion need to come, and if they choose as part of the grant, or this board chooses that the board will pay for retirement, then that becomes part of the grant application. If it's not chosen that we do that, then we have to come up with something else. Yes, you are a county employee. By what you read was that they don't pay that, but we didn't learn that, and so this thing is so confusing. It should have always come before this board so that we'd have those specifications figured out and those places could be drawn accordingly. This right now is we're playing shuffle this money to go into this account to shuffle. I mean, we just had a budget amendment to take this other away, and now we're having contemplating a budget amendment to put money back. That makes zero sense, and that is not transparent to the public at all. That's just being weird of who's spending money on what. I have no doubt about the program. This grant, part of it, is not responsible. And I'm not saying necessarily on your part.
No.
I'm saying when she says that there needs to be some tweaking, she didn't. And I'm not sure I want to play this game anymore because I don't know what we're spending. I don't know what we're spending the public's money on. And this switch and whatever, it has to be clearer than just this.
So going forward, as I said, I'd like to meet with you guys
I'd love
as I'm doing the grant, starting February
Love it.
1st, after I take the training. And then, I mean, periodically, really, before it's due March the 15th.
I would recommend it myself.
Okay.
Just to put us all on the same page and include Amber
Yes.
also. But Mr. Chairman, if you go and go research online, local will pay for benefits. If we did not apply for them, then I can see why they'd say no. But I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm at a loss. Did we not? So if you're asking the state to reimburse the county, are you asking for the reimbursement of your retirement?
Not at this moment. I'm asking the county to pay it.
So what would the money towards your retirement go to? This program?
Well, it would go for me for my retirement.
You just said it wasn't. You said the county was paying your retirement.
Right. But going forward with the new grant and the new application, I would ask for it.
So, Mr. Chairman, so in your grant application, you have a match account. Match.
Yes.
Going forward, I mean, or in your report now, are you stating that your retirement is part of a grant match?
I guess they put it, from what I understand, they put it in there to pay Kim Rhodes's from there. But then when I came into the picture and the grant was already approved and done.
By this board.
Well, they wrote the grant and then they brought it to you, I guess. I can't attest to that, I wasn't here.
Right. I can't find it anyway.
Okay, and so they chose to take out her retirement from the VOCA match. And so now that it's decreased and the money is from, gone down from the 8,000 to the 3,000, there's not enough in there.
Okay, Mr. Chairman. I'm not quite understanding a lot of things. But we've walked down a path that we're paying the retirement, so I think we're out of luck. So I think it just has to come out of, and if you're not asking for a reimbursement, I don't think you're going to start now and expect to be paid. So, Mr. Chairman, I would just ask that it come out of the general fund of our line item for that type of thing. We do put some extra in there because of retirements, because of new hirees, all that we just start that process. And then when this grant comes before us again, we walk down a pretty good path of knowing exactly where it's going.
I agree.
This is frustrating for me. It's been frustrating. I got a pile in my book of just VOCA, just trying to understand reading. This is not worth reading. I can't get what it is that we are. I understand what the program is. Don't misunderstand that. I understand the program. I don't understand the funding of the program. And so I think we need a better explanation. Having something just tossed to us and said, this is why we're in this boat we're in, and we're sinking. So if I can't get a clear picture of what the next grant is, I'm going to be a big no regardless. Because if I can't get an understanding of where that money, every dime goes, how it gets reimbursed to us, this is a nightmare. And it's a nightmare every month. It's a nightmare for both the treasurer and the clerk. And this isn't how this should be. Reimbursement, drawdowns should be easy. We do grants all the time. This should not be that. So Mr. Chairman, that's my humble opinion. We're not making money. We gotta get it from somewhere.
In addition to the weekly printed version of the newsletter journal, we also promote our community and share important information on our award-winning website, newslj.com, and in our weekly email newsletter, Nuke Now. We also connect with readers through various social media platforms and invite you to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can even take a look at a recent meeting of the City Council, School Board, or County Commission on our YouTube channel. We do hope that you will go to newslj.com and subscribe today, and we look forward to making all of our great content available to you. But regardless of your level of support, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for doing your part to preserve a free and independent local press.
And this isn't how this should be. Reimbursement, drawdowns should be easy. We do grants all the time. This should not be that. So, Mr. Chairman, that's my humble opinion. We're not making money. We gotta get it from somewhere.
So I understand.
See, the match was originally budgeted to 20. They moved it from this
To 3,000,
to this
which is what we put in.
to add it into these accounts. We changed. They went up by this amount.
A lot more than that, isn't it? So that's 20,000, 10,000.
And Marty had to, because the match amount has plenty in it.
We did the 3068.
We didn't change that. These guys and the state changed those amounts.
No,
Yeah.
we did put the 3068 in, right?
Because that's what they, we had
Yeah.
to change it, because we
Yeah.
started out with the 9. And that's why we did the budget adjustment to move down to the 3. Because we originally put that, because, let me see this. This is what we had to begin with. We didn't even have this one. So we had the 9,000 in there, and then we decreased it to this.
So, Mr. Chairman, that was my frustration when we did that.
We didn't have the new amount that they had adjusted. They adjusted it down to the 3. So that's why we're so confused that the 3 or the 9,375 that we originally put in, that was enough for the retirement, because we were given this. We never had the new amount. And why that amount was decreased to not even enough for it in our match amount, we have no idea.
Mr. Chairman, it's really not gonna matter in and of the fact that we still have to pay the retirement.
Yeah.
Right.
So it doesn't matter where it comes from. I mean, we could scrape it off the surface of the moon if it was available, but we can't. So,
But for future reference, this 3068 isn't gonna suffice.
no, we're gonna have to just take it out of our regular employment account, and that's why I'm saying, from this moment on, we determine whether or not we are paying retirement,
Or if it's part of the grant.
or if it's part of the grant and is reimbursable by that grant.
It definitely has to be that amount that was originally put in there.
It doesn't matter now. It doesn't matter. I mean, the grant is so convoluted and confused. I would imagine that if we would ask Susie what that book looks like, it's a series of red marks and marks again and white out, and that's frustrating for anybody. And I can imagine what our auditor will do, because you got federal funds. There's the other thing: we pay extra for federal funds. The audit costs us buku more bucks for federal funds. So now that's going to be a nightmare. The State Department can. I want to take the whole thing and crumple it up, because it's a nightmare. I think I've said that 14 times, and I don't mean to be redundant. Mr. Chairman, we just need to take the money out of our employment account and call it good.
So, in other words, that's just the guidance that she needs over in the clerk's office for now to follow that. Hey,
Mr. Chairman, again, I'll reiterate. I don't believe it's the county clerk's or the county treasurer's job to maintain the qualifications of the grant. It's the grant.
I understand.
It's VOCA.
But moving forward for this current grant cycle on this, Amber just needs to move forward with paying it out of our, whatever
It just
account that it's coming out of. And then when we renew, we need to do the due diligence to clarify.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not for moving any money at all because we're playing this game again.
No,
I'm just not interested in moving money around. Just take it out. Let us sit down and get it figured out and determine whether this board says that's okay with us or it's not okay with us.
Let me ask her if she needs to know an account, or because I think it's on the back end that she's having issues with.
Well, that's uncalled for too then.
Yeah,
See what I mean?
Let me ask her.
That shouldn't, Mr. Chairman, that shouldn't even be part of the grant now because it wasn't part of the grant. If it was included in some paperwork that we knew that retirement was paid, not an issue. But if it was not part of the grant issued, and it was assumed, which is a terrible word, that puts us in this weird predicament. It's no point even, it would be on the duty of the grant, you're the grant.
which is, I think, why Ms. Hughes sent this email that says that this is a teacher moment for the program.
Bingo.
This is one of the most convoluted grants I've ever been involved with. You know, most of your grants, it's pretty much cut and dry. You spend over this, you ask for the reimbursement back. But this is so many columns of gray area of where it's coming from.
And Mr. Chairman, making the shift to whatever is comfortable to make something feel comfortable is only putting us in this strange predicament of trying to explain, well, what'd you do it for? And then the question is, why did you do it?
So Amber said they were reimbursing for the retirement.
Oh, goodness gracious.
And now that she's out of money because we didn't budget for more than the 3,000, she doesn't know if they're gonna reimburse anymore.
So
Probably not.
They're not.
So because we only budgeted for the 3,000, they're done reimbursing for that now.
So, Mr. Chairman, see, that's promising the moon and then pulling the rug out from
So
under.
had we put in the 9,000,
I'm sorry, I told you wrong. We don't get reimbursed for it. It's the match. I take it from the match account and put it in the retirement.
so they weren't reimbursing.
No, because that's the
This is a
match.
double entry.
That's the match.
Double entry problem.
It's terrible.
That's what I'm
It's on
saying.
the back
It's a
end.
double entry
It's
problem and that's a
ridiculous.
nightmare.
Well, what I can say
Chew my
is,
pen.
So
now
what-
that I'm in the position, we'll do the grant together and go
But it
forward.
was
Wonderful.
It's what is done here is not what's done on the back end.
I think it's worth reiterating,
So
Stephanie, that I think nobody's questioning your service. And
No.
I know.
If-
I mean,
if it's, because there probably won't be any more coming in, obviously, from the state. We'll just, if it's easiest, it'll just come out of the retirement.
Yes.
If it's not, and there's an account that has to go into, which I don't think there will be because they won't reimburse.
No.
If there's more that needs to be done, I'll bring it to the board on the 20th.
Mr. Chairman, I just think
But the other accounts are still
we're fine.
doing
And money.
the back end of them.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
not only does she do a good job, I know she does a really good job.
Thank you.
But I don't think I'm not blaming you for this. I don't think anybody else
Oh,
is.
I don't.
You
I
came
don't-
right,
yeah.
you came in the middle of this. It was already going on when you got there and I think you've just been as confused as we are.
And I told you that. I'm like, I don't have an answer, and I get sick of telling you guys that I don't have an answer because it's like I'm ignorant, but I really don't have the answer. I didn't do it. I mean, I don't know where this direction came. I don't know why they took it out. I mean,
Well, with all due respect, you should know the answer, because it should be cut and dried, so that you do know. So that if anybody ever slides into that position, it would be black and white, be easy as pie. Because that happens all the time. And leaving other people, and so I'm not necessarily blaming you, but what I'm saying is it should be left for the next person, regardless of what happens, that they can pick up without even missing a stride.
going forth, we're gonna do it.
That sounds wonderful.
And I
Thank
think
you.
that's gonna come from them too, because they're gonna require more detail in approving their final deals, so. I think it's partially to blame on them, I would say, because they're filling out paperwork, expecting something and not knowing all the variables. You're sitting tall over there.
Because I'm trying to breathe. I have to open my lungs.
All right. Do you need any, you probably don't need any other guidance other than we just start meeting
No.
and once this starts, okay?
No.
Here, just set up an appointment on the agenda. So
Yeah,
you can
I'll
keep
ask
us abreast.
Becky for the next, because the next training is 23rd, so I'll ask her to put me on right after that.
Okay.
Okay?
Wonderful.
Well, thank you.
You bet.
Thank you.
Oh, Gilbert, oh, he's back.
I'm here.
Good.
Hi. So I'll give you guys an update on everything that's going on, everything I'm doing. So I got a handful of things. First, we met on November 13th in Upton at the community center on just to go over the power outage drill or the power outage event that we had. So we had sheriff's office and the Weston, the school district number 7 was there, Clark was there, EMS and quite a few people. And so we wanted to go over what we found, what our strengths were, and what our weaknesses and what we can improve on, different things. So here's a copy of my after action report that I have to turn into the state. So I turned this into the state, so I'll give you, this is for official use only, but I'll give you guys a copy, you guys can look it over. But some of the strengths that we had were, we already found that we were doing some things, we had some things in place already. We already have a long-term power outage plan for the county. We already have, fuel identified for like emergency vehicles, stuff like that. So if it came down to a longer issue, we already have some of that identified. The emergency generators worked at both fire halls, the Upton one and the Newcastle one at the hospital. So those were good things. We were already starting to look at our AFM population and re-identifying that, and that's still going well, actually. We're still focusing on that, but we do have areas of improvement. So communication, there were some communication issues. We didn't communicate with everyone that we probably should have. I should have opened the EOC and stayed there and probably maybe pulled in public health, and we all should have worked out of like the EOC or because I was the point of contact. So we had some goals, some recommendations that came out of that. Better communication between stakeholders, and that's ongoing between everyone. Better communication with the Upton PD. There was so what happened is at the Upton High School, I think when they turned the power back on, it fried a bunch of stuff, and they actually had some smoke coming out of computers and it fried their radio. So the fire department got called there, and the Upton police chief didn't get notified of that. So there was a little communication issue there. So get the backup dispatch center up and running. That's an ongoing issue. The backup dispatch will be up to the Upton Police Department. Identify and secure a place for AFN, our access and functional needs. So what we did is told them to call 911 and ambulance or somebody would take them to the hospital. And that's kind of up in the air. I mean, we don't have a place to put people here, because if we don't have power, you can't put them in a shelter because our shelters don't have generators. So our shelters are the schools and one of the churches, they don't have generators. So when we met at the hospital and the CEO was like, you know, we just have to do it. That's what we're here for, we just have to do it. But I still want to find a place and eventually get a generator someplace in both Upton and in Newcastle. When we met at the hospital and the CEO was like, you know, we just have to do it. That's what we're here for, we just have to do it. But I still want to find a place and eventually get a generator someplace in both Upton and in Newcastle, someplace where we can put people, a warming station and a place to put those people and not have to use the ambulance because they need to be used for emergencies only. If they can't transport themselves, that was another thing. And so Tiffany up and brought that to my attention. And I've already secured, and that was another thing, was secure transportation. So I've already secured multiple ways of transportation for those people to use to transport anybody to the hospital, or if we were able to find a place. So another thing is get the Upton School a new radio, and I'm working on a quote because they're trying their base station at their high school. Open an EMS base door, something I never even thought about is Down Power is opening their bay doors. So, and that's something that they are working on, their EMS. And secure a fuel source for emergency vehicles in Upton. We have a fuel source here. Our pumps at the county shop. There's a generator there. I mean, it's good, but they shouldn't have to come here. You know, it could be an issue. So I'm gonna maybe talk to Dixon Brothers for something like that, maybe get a trailer or something parked there. And I didn't know if maybe how much storage the refinery holds on fuel or anything like that. I don't know. So I'll have to maybe talk to Donnie or something about that. So, but that's what we came up with the power outage. So, but this is the entire after action report. So, other things is, so this next year, it'll be time to update the continuing government plan for the county and the continuing operations plan. So what that entails is if the courthouse somehow becomes inhabitable, how are you basically still going to operate? How's all the offices still going to operate? So we met a couple of times. I would like to involve you guys and all the department heads, or at least somebody off the board, in starting to look at that plans and redoing those plans again. So maybe, I don't know, sometime in January or February, probably February, setting a date with the department heads, maybe a lunchtime thing, to start that, as well as the courthouse emergency plans. And then LEPC, we meet, the commissioners have an open invite to that. It's always usually the last Wednesday of the month, and that's at noon. So we'd like to have somebody show up for that. It's usually at the country club at noon. So it's really, LEPC is turned from 2 people showing up at 7 o'clock at night at the fire hall to having 10, 12 people showing up and having a lot of good conversation and thriving again, now that we changed to afternoons and having lunch, and now we're getting a lot of all the other departments back and stuff like that. So that's helped a lot. So SHSP grants, pre-authorized or pre-awarded. I got 3 this year. A lot of the other counties, including Weston County, didn't get a lot this year. So 2 sirens, I would like to put one more in the county, maybe out in Painted Hills. Because they're kind of blocked out there. They don't hear that one from the fire hall, especially if the wind's blowing. And then replace another one that's old and start to maybe rebuild and replace some of the old ones. Because like the one by the senior center, if it breaks one more time, there's no fixing it. So I'd like to replace that one. So last thing is pre-authorization on the credit card for emergencies and meetings and trainings for food, basically. So lots of times if we're, like if there's a fire or a search and rescue or something like that, a lot of times I feed the guys. And then like LAPC meetings, I've been usually purchasing the food. But that's up to you guys. So. But it's hard to determine, come in and say, hey, it's going to be this much, so I was just asking what your thought was. Other than that, that's basically what's going on. So, the three other two awards is the cybersecurity upgrade at the sheriff's office, and then the rave, $6,500 for the rave renewal. So
the as far as like guidance on the feeding people, stuff like that, is that something you want to kick around, put some thought into it? Or I mean, I get it.
I've done that a lot in the past.
I know I've seen vouchers,
but other than that, I mean,
Mr. Chairman, whether or not I question on the lunch thing, and I see what it changes the incentive if you have lunch, and I get what your purpose is, but I don't think it's impossible for you to give us a pre-authorization on the card or ask the venue to submit a voucher. That's the way it is. It's helpful. You can have a general idea of staying within
a certain amount.
Yes,
and I could do that. Generally, it's between a certain amount.
And I mean, by average, you could figure that out with probably no problem looking at your vouchers of how many people show up. And as far as emergencies, I don't know. I don't know on that. I just don't know. Some of the emergencies bring in Red Cross. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes people come in and donate food. I don't know. I'm rough on that one. There's a part of me that says, yeah, get after it and do it.
Yeah.
There's a part of me that says Forest Service is gonna come in and do it with the facilities they have. I mean, it's a different scenario everywhere we go.
Yeah.
And
so like the smaller ones where the Red Cross ain't gonna, like the Tisdale search, and we had a lot of people there, so I bought lunch for it, especially at the beginning, when we had the YDOT, I want to say another word, but situation, when we finally were able to call it in, we were there for quite a while, and then I fed some of the guys, but sometimes I probably could curb that, and then there's times that the guys are out there for quite a while, but we're not calling in volunteers, and we're not calling in and having people make sack lunches and that type of stuff. So I probably could talk to maybe the country club and see if they could voucher that, which would help. So
I guess part of what my issue is I'd like to see the money go towards what the assumption is of the money it's supposed to go towards, and that's Homeland Security. And I'm not sure always lunch is Homeland Security. I understand you've explained it, and you've explained it well, why sometimes that works out, but I'm not sure that's the purpose of what that money is for. And there are times when the reimbursement isn't gonna come through, they're gonna laugh our faces off, and guess who pays for that? The citizens of Weston County. So, I just think there needs to be some discretion. We're gonna be in a weird place here pretty soon with the money issue. And every time we can find a way to trim,
Yeah,
we trim.
absolutely. I haven't heard yet. I think you probably got an email on the EMPG grant, and how much we'll get. So I think it's probably 1,000 less than we got last year, which will cover half of everything. The bills, everything I purchase, including wages and benefits. So, which will help as well.
I haven't got it yet, but
So, usually they send it to the chairman before I get it, so.
roughly what time of year?
It should be coming anytime. They usually do the pre-offs about, or pre-awards about the same time as we do these. So.
And it would be coming from?
It'll come from probably Daryl Erickson.
Daryl Erickson?
Yeah, from the state, so. And I can check on that, or, yeah.
I might double check. I haven't seen anything, but I also get a lot of stuff goes to my junk mail. I try to keep track.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm not missing something. So I got a question on the doors at the EMS. Are they garage doors? You can't lift them like manual?
They got them open that day, but they want to come up with a better method. And I don't know if they chained them or they had to do something, but they want to come up with a better method. So they're looking at a generator option as well, because it took them a while. So, and I don't know how familiar they are with the building because they rotate people through all the time, but that was one of the issues that the EMS brought up, was having to open the doors, and probably because they had to do it.
Yeah.
So,
Like, the doors probably don't have the chains on to open, because you have to trip the release on the opener and then manually, physically, by hand, push them up.
yeah.
They should have to be weighted right. I mean, I've never seen,
I've had to open several of them.
I got a 25 foot by 14 foot garage door out of the ranch. I can manually do it myself.
Yeah.
I mean, if the springs are set right.
And I don't know if they knew how to do that or what. That was one of the issues. So one of the goals set, I think, was by the end of next year or something like that, is to have that fixed. So hopefully, and I would like to, maybe next grant season is write a grant for 2 generators, maybe to put in Upton somewhere, and one at a school here, or maybe I would like to see maybe at the fairgrounds at the event center, turn that into a warming station shelter, and maybe putting a generator there. So I think that would.
Visit with the fair board about.
So it's searching this one.
You guys can keep that. You can pass that down or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
And then I got another question.
Okay.
These generators are operating off of natural gas, right?
Yeah. Some are. So like the new one here is natural gas.
And a long-term power outage, how much long will those things run before the turbines aren't pushing gas to Newcastle anymore? Any idea?
I don't. So it just depends on.
I got a input on that. Most all your compressor stations for your natural gas are natural gas fired. So them stations, they'll push gas even, because we went through this way back in 2000 when the Y2K bugs was shutting down. I mean, that was the gas company. Then pretty much all the generators out there are fired off natural gas. So they're self-sustained. They got their own power source, plus they press the gas.
It's good to know.
The bad thing of that is Newcastle's a team of pipelines. And there's some places I can see where the pipeline's laying on top of the ground still.
Wonderful. I was reviewing our county, the mitigation plan, and it has a lot of good info. I would like to email it to Becky to share with you guys too, just for your perusal when you have time, because it talks about landslides and mine subsidies and all that. It was signed last year and approved by the commission, but it just has a lot of good info just for you guys to review and just kind of look at the hazards of Weston County and stuff like that as well. So,
Good info today, Gilbert, I appreciate that.
yep.
You got anything else for Gilbert?
No, I'll stick it for our job description.
You gonna try and be around for that?
I can be. Thank you.
Thanks, Gilbert. Let's go have a lunch recess, get back with home.